Welcome back to the Ill Ego Culture Brands Red Tape Talk Modcast. I'm your host, John Nostos, a.k.a. Ill Ego CEO, and I'm here with my two counterparts, Dion Two Cup Larry and Cody Big Meat Mauk.
Yep.
And today we brought back, so one of the things we said we wanted to do getting past the 100th episode is we wanted to revisit some of our, favorite or more popular podcasts from the previous 100 that we did. And so Marshall was like the first edition of that. We're bringing back Marshall Johnson, otherwise known as Freakshow in the powerlifting world. He's back to just catch up, talk some shit. We want to see where you're at in your recovery process. That's been kind of some years-long battle now.
Was it going on year 4?
2020, yeah.
2020.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So welcome back, Marshall. Thanks for coming on again, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
So the only reason why I remember that was because I tore my pec around the same time that you got injured.
Oh, yeah?
So that was during 2020. And
Still got a divot?
yeah, it looks weird. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever be normal after that, but
Well, were you going to be anyways?
probably not. So we're probably going on year 5 now, no? Or is it what was it in 2020?
December of 2019 is when I heard it the first time.
Oh,
and
sure.
then it was minor, but it just kind of started the snowball.
Yeah.
And in November of 2020 was the last time I actually competed. I actually had got back to about 95% strength, and it was actually a really good meet. And then just ever since then, November of 2020, it was just a constant downfall of just hurting it worse until I think it was 2021 in December when putting my socks on, is when I hurt it the worst, when I really herniated the disc. Just putting my socks on. Yeah.
So for all of the new listeners that are listening, we have a few. Explain to them like where you come from and what you do, and how you got injured. I guess basically.
I've been a competitive powerlifter since 2007. At the time, I was doing bodybuilding shows. I did 2 bodybuilding shows right around the same time.
Same shows I did.
Same shows Cody did. And then about 2007, I started powerlifting, and I was powerlifting from 2007 competitively till 2020. 2020 was my last competition. I was sponsored by Elite FTS for a number of years. I was sponsored by Animal for a number of years. And then I was also sponsored by John in the gym and H&I for the last 6 or 7 years, I believe. Yeah. I hold the 7th highest total all time in my weight class. I still have it. I just kind of checked it recently. I still have the 7th highest total all time in my weight class in the world, regardless of federation. So that still holds true. But ever since, that's kind of this cascade of injuries in 2019, it's just been trying to figure out if I can get back to powerlifting. And even more recently, in the last couple of years, just accepting the fact I might be done with powerlifting and dealing with just the mental aftermath of accepting that fate is kind of where I'm kind of treading water at the moment.
What is the actual injury again?
My L4, L5 hernia. I have a herniated disc, my L4, L5, and then the discs above and below, I have bulging discs. Bulging disc is just where the disc itself is kind of protruding out. A herniated disc is where there's been actual tear in the disc and the fluid has actually come out. So there's actually herniated disc and bulging discs are kind of different.
Yeah. So you've been in the recovery process for about 4 years now. Have you tried everything aside from like stem cells? Have you looked into stem cells?
Stem cells, I always just kind of write off stem cells because I don't think it's something that I can afford. I've never actually looked into it, but when you hear stem cells, you just have this automatic thought that it's going to be fucking expensive, or you can't even do it in the US. You'd have to go to a different country. So just the travel alone.
Right.
I just think as the years go by, the reality that's setting in that I could very well be done with this, then my priorities kind of shift to where I don't have to go to those extremes to fix it, because me trying to stay in powerlifting is a huge reason why it stayed hurt. You know what I mean? And probably over the last year is when it's actually kind of started to get better a lot faster now that I'm basically kind of accepting the fact that it might be done.
So are you gonna? Where are you at with your decision making? Like when is the final decision that you're gonna come to? Like, okay, maybe I need to switch how I train, and because you're a competitor at heart, so I think that you want to compete, but.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too. You're like in that phase of where they talk about when athletes have just been achieving their whole lives and working towards that one goal, and then they retire or, they get an injury that takes them out and they just kind of don't know where to go, and they can lose their fucking minds. They can go crazy, get into alcoholism. I mean, you've heard all the stories. That's like the phase you're in right now where you're trying to decide what direction you fall, right?
Yeah. And it's the last year has been last year and a half has probably been one of the hardest years of my life. And that's including, when my dad died in my 20s, because my identity is and was powerlifting. I legitimately don't think I have any value if I'm not a powerlifter. And people will hear me say that and they'll be like, oh, you're a dad, you're a husband, you're a friend, you got so much going for you. And then they almost say it like you're just saying it for attention, or you don't really believe it. But
get real.
But I genuinely believe that I don't have any value if I'm not a power lifter. And the last year has been trying to get out of that mindset. You know what I mean? So to say, like when the guys retire and then it's like, well, what the fuck do I do with my life now? I've spent the last almost 20 years of my life devoted to this one thing and nothing else. It's very traumatizing. It is. And I'm just kind of in that phase right now of trying to figure that out.
So you've been working on this for a long time, obviously trying to get back. Like, I know you use Dr. Chris a lot. Mm-hmm. Have you gotten opinions from other doctors or even other powerlifters who have gone through something similar? Because you're not the first, obviously. So
I'm not the first. I'm super confident in Dr. Chris's diagnosis. And actually, Dr. Chris believes that I should be able to overcome it. What I have, people have overcome my injury. People have overcome, my injury and then some and accomplished way more. But at the expense of their health got worse after the fact. Yeah. They found a way to get through it. They got what they wanted, but they came out worse on the other end. But with me, it's all mental. I legitimately developed trauma around it and almost like PTSD around it.
Because every time you bend over, like you're like, oh my God, is this it?
Anything, like a very common hallmark of like PTSD, like let's say for like a soldier, and I hate even comparing it because I don't think it's the same thing, but trauma's trauma, PTSD is PTSD. It's how you interpret a situation. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be someone who watched somebody die to have PTSD. But I'm super hesitant to even say that I have it, but my therapist is trying to get me to believe, or just to get me to realize that, you don't have to live through a war to have PTSD. Yeah. But like a hallmark of PTSD, like someone, like if you were every person you walked by in the street you thought they were going to kill you because you're just so used to being in battle and you're so used to being hyper vigilant, on guard. If you let your guard down, you die, because that's the world you came from. If you lived in the military, if you're in like active duty or combat for so many years, if you let your guard down, you died. So when you come back from that, everybody you see is a potential threat to kill you or take you out. So you never get out of that hyper arousal. With me, every single chair was going to hurt me. Every single car was going to hurt me. Everything was a threat. Every chair was a threat. Every couch, every hospital, and every hotel bed was a threat. And anytime I was faced with the situation to sit in a chair I haven't sat in,
you're like, oh fuck.
I would have flashbacks. Yeah. I would have panic attacks.
And so is it like like when it happened, was it like excruciating pain for when you got that trigger?
It was mental. There was no.
No. I'm like the actual injury. Like
oh yeah.
When it triggered that, whenever you bent down to grab something and it just like punched you in the back.
Yeah. Your entire back locks down. It goes to a 10 like immediately.
Okay.
And
that's why you were like, I feel like every time I sit down, this could be it again.
Yeah. And I would relive that moment on the stairs when I did it and when I passed out, and Kathy, you know, waking me up because I passed out and not being able to move and just being completely helpless. Like anytime I saw a new chair, I would immediately, I'd be there.
How long ago was that when you passed out?
2021.
Okay. So it's been a few years.
Yeah.
Have you had any like close calls since then?
It's just within the last year. It's been about a year since I've actually physically heard it. It's just been all mental this year. It's just been dealing with the aftermath of it. And I started going to therapy early in the year. And that's helped tremendously because you need to learn how to not live in the past. You need to learn how to experience a situation and understand that you are in the present. It wasn't 2 years ago when you got hurt, you know, but in your mind, you don't think logically. Like it's this instant, like I'm back there, I'm feeling it, and you can't talk yourself out of it. You know what I mean?
So if you were able to come back and be as strong as you were before, what is the goal?
The goal would be, I was 55 pounds away from top 5 all time. And that's what, 15, 20 pounds per lift. I could put 15 or 20 more pounds on each lift. Well, putting it all together on meet day would not be an easy task, but yeah, I was 55 pounds away from top 5 all time. So that was always, you know, getting to 2,800 was the total that I wanted to get back to.
But you were also 50 pounds heavier.
Yeah. What was your weight class when you hit those?
I was 308. So I competed. I generally walked around about 304, 305. The biggest I got up to was 317, I believe.
Wow. When was that? 2019?
2018.
2018.
Yeah, it was before my biggest total. Before I realized that I didn't have to be
that big.
That big.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is my question, is like, for you to know that you probably have to put on weight to achieve those numbers, right?
Yes, probably not as much.
But
I could probably do that at like 280, 290.
You're okay with doing that again? Because I know how hard you worked to get down to where you're at. You really, really worked hard.
Well, part of me being able to get over this, I had to accept the fact that I'm done. I had to let that die.
Yeah.
Because I kept holding on to it, and holding on to it made the anxiety, it made all that, made the trauma, made everything worse because it made my life worthless. But I had to be okay with the fact that I'm done. Right now, in my mind, I'm done. Am I saying a year from now, if I feel better, I'm not going to go for it? That's different. But to get over this hump, to get out of this hole that I dug, I had to be okay with I'm done. And it wasn't until I literally accepted I'm done with this, I was finally able to mentally get stronger. I was able to physically get stronger. It wasn't until I was able to do that. There's a song quote from Ronnie Radke, and he said, how can I escape if I never close my case? So that was 100% it. Like, I had to shut that door to be able to move on.
Have you ever considered doing a bodybuilding competition?
Yes, and what? I always said I would do another one, but
the reason why I'm asking is because I know like your end goal is to become the best powerlifter you can possibly be, right? Mm-hmm. But would it be better for you to try to do a bodybuilding competition to see how your body reacted to just pushing lightweight to get to where you want to be, and just kind of just test the waters? Because you don't need to lift as heavy as a power lifter. Obviously you can do lighter weights with more reps. So just to just kind of test it to see how far you can go and then take it from there.
Like to be competitive?
Or, well, I mean, just testing your body, and then obviously, you know, he's going to be competing, right? Yeah. So to try to give his competitive side a little bit, but it's really just to test your body to see what it can take.
Yeah.
I want to, but it's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than just train with lighter weights and you'll be fine. I'm at place right now to where I don't think I could mentally deal with the diet and still have a positive marriage, still have be a positive father, because my window of tolerance right now is so small. I get set off so easily. Like if Freya clears if Freya clears her throat, I want to scream. Like if let's say if Kathy was supposed to, it's Kathy's turn to do the dishes, and she doesn't do them until the next day, I want to throw something through the wall. Like my arousal is so high right now, and my window of tolerance for things is just so low. It's ridiculous. Like I have to talk myself down from just daily things.
Why is that?
It's from the mental experience, the trauma. Like I walk around in fight or flight. You know what I mean? Like you've been in a fight or flight response, I assume, to where it's run or fight. You've been in that the hyper aroused sense to where your body's ready to go, muscles are tight, adrenaline's flowing.
Oh, like that time you got your ass kicked. Remember that story?
That story you told on the podcast?
Yeah.
From who?
The one you told on the podcast.
You
at
said
your
you hit him,
apartment?
but then he beat your ass or something like that?
No, he took off running.
Yeah.
He took off running. I did actually run from a fight once. There was this dude that came out with the frying pan. He was at frying pan. He came out with the frying pan. And he was gonna.
It was the cook.
Oh, it was just some random guy that
just
was
wanted to know
drunk.
how you wanted your eggs. He just took off running.
We were in the frying pan, and these guys were talking shit. We were gonna fight him. We're like, let's go outside, and we went outside, and I saw the guy had a frying pan in his hand, and he was gonna fucking smoke me in the face with it. So I just like, all right, fuck this.
Did you have it coming at least?
No, they came over to us and were talking shit. But yeah. But anyways, go ahead. Fight or flight.
Yeah. So that's part of someone who experiences trauma or things like PTSD, and just saying PT. I cringe when I say it because it's just, I feel like it's reserved for people who have experienced horrible stuff. But again, it's just situations you face in life. And
No,
how they affect you.
I totally understand where you're coming from, because like even with me, I had never seen combat before, but I attribute to the experiences that I've had with Jax choking on a little tennis ball and me ripping it out of his throat. Like I fucking that traumatized me for a long time. My brother, he had a situation with a rifle of mine that he almost shot himself, and that traumatized me for years, right? Roman, we were putting together the walker in the garage, and he was sitting right here, and we weren't paying attention, putting together the stroller in the garage, and Kate looks over and she's like, oh my God. Roman was at the end of the driveway, and our street is like, there's people flying by. And so I drop everything and I sprint, and then I grab him. So you picture those certain scenarios like over and over and over again, and you can only imagine the worst. And it's not like you can just say, okay, everything was fine, you're okay, but you still get that punch in the stomach and in the heart when you think about those things.
Yeah.
They keep following you. You know what I mean? And it's really, really difficult to just get over them. So I do understand where you're coming from as far as like, saying PTSD. Like there's certain triggers that you have that you just constantly think about, and it just follows you.
So when you constantly experience traumatic experiences over and over and over again, it actually changes the way your brain is wired. Your brain wants to protect your body. Your brain wants to protect itself. So in order to avoid those situations, your body will have a super sensitive, I call it like a smoke alarm. You know what I mean? So if generally it takes, a fire for your smoke alarm to go off. But if every day there's a fire in your house, if that smoke alarm could be intuitive to where you put a piece of toast in the toaster, that thing's going off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So your brain gets rewired to avoid those things. So the slightest, it doesn't take, like the full blown, like I'm in a fight with somebody, or like I just jumped in the water and there's a shark swimming at me. I see a picture of a shark and I'm in the water with it. You know what I mean? Like your brain rewires itself, and your body does that too. Like it did with my back. Because I constantly re-injured my back over and over and over again, your body will produce more nerve endings in that injured area to detect danger. So your body actually gets more sensitive to injury. It has this overreactive alert system. You know what I mean? So if I felt something like if I had a sweat roll down my back, I was instantly back on the stairs because I felt a sensation in my back.
Whoa.
It's your body protects itself. It'll rewire itself. Your brain, your body, it all does that stuff. So when I say it's hard to just get over that, I live in that fight or flight every day. And I've been going through therapy since this summer, just trying to rewire that. So every time you do get in a situation to where it's a trigger, you can be able to tell yourself, I'm here right now in this moment. It's not 2 years ago. You're not on the steps. Like, it gives you the ability to deaden that hyperactive alert system. And until you work through it, it's not going to change. You know, it's involuntary. You don't have any control over it. So that's probably the hardest part. Is just being out of control.
Wow.
Do you feel like the therapy's been helping? Obviously, do you plan on doing that for a long time? Or?
Yeah. It's helped me. It's helped me so much. It's gotten to the point where I can function in life. It's gotten to the point where I'm not thinking about it all day long. It's gotten to the point where I can sleep in a hotel bed that I've never slept in and not lose my mind, or sit in a car for 2 hours and not lose my mind. Or I just started a new job to where it's a little more physical than it was before. And, you know, the first couple weeks were awful because every time I went to work, I thought it was going to be carried out because it was just 5% more physically demanding. You know what I mean? But since I started going, you know, with the therapy, I can go to work and just incrementally get better. I can incrementally lift a heavier thing. I can incrementally bend a little lower. I can incrementally carry something a little heavier. And I have the mental integrity now to be okay with that. So it's helping tremendously.
Obviously for the past couple of years, you've been on a journey of losing some of that weight that you had on. How much are you weighing right now?
The last time I weighed myself was about a month ago. It was 259.
259. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you actively trying to still go down in weight and get leaner, or are you just kind of coasting at the moment?
Initially, I wanted to. I was still on this getting lean kick, and I wanted to get to 240.
240? I thought it was 250.
I wanted. No, that was when I was trying. That was years ago when I was trying. When I was initially losing the weight, and then I only got to 253.
Yeah.
But since then, I wanted to get down to like 240. But it's funny. I was watching bodybuilding videos before I go train, and Freya was sitting there with me, and we were watching Marcus Rule. He's one of my favorite bodybuilders. And we're watching it, and Freya, she was asking me, Dad, is that guy stronger than you? And I said, no, before I got hurt, you know, I was a lot stronger than he was. And then she goes, well, he's bigger, right? Like, I was about the same. I weighed more than him. Like, I was bigger than him. And then she said, are you going to get that big again? And I was like, I don't know. And then she's like, my dad could be that big. My dad could be that strong. And then she just started jumping up and down, like she lit up, like her energy went to a different level. She's like, I can tell my friends my dad is that strong. And immediately I was just like, I'm getting big again. Because before it was like I had no reason to, but just to see that it gave me a purpose. You know, it gave me like a purpose, like something to train for, because right now I'm just trying to get through, you know what I mean? But just to see her light up like that, I was just like, okay, I want to get bigger. I want to get like 280, 290 again.
So that's the next.
Slowly, like
that's the next
slowly,
phase.
like good weight.
Yeah.
Like better weight than I was then. So
that's the next phase.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But on the topic of bodybuilding, Yes, I've wanted to train like I used to in bodybuilding. When I was a bodybuilder and I trained bodybuilding, I wouldn't say I trained like Branch Warren or like Dorian Yates, but I definitely did train like the high intensity, get psyched up, probably don't have the best technique, but you let everything out. You just flush the system and you just put it all on the line for one set. Like I loved that shit. But I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
Injury prone shit.
Yeah. But it's just something about just forgetting everything and just letting go and just emptying the tank.
Yeah.
But the more I try to do that, the more I learn how much your core and your lower back affect everything from fucking curls to calf raises. So like anytime you use momentum, you're engaging your lower back. You're engaging, like you have to use your core to stabilize what you're doing.
Right.
So I can't train that way. So I don't know how I would train, because I tried for the longest time, light weights, being really focusing so much on the control.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't grow that way. The only time I ever grew is when I just trained like that, but I can't do it. Cause every time I try to do it, I'm like, well, I'm demanding way too much of my back right now. And it's stupid. It's like to even do it just like standing curls, like that slight rock is just enough to put stress on your back. So I've been trying to figure out a way around that. I try to find exercises where I'm stationary, or I can put my body like chest supported rows, or just anything to where I can just really put my body weight on that support and lean into it. But I am finding ways to train heavy again, like weighted pull-ups. I've been absolutely loving weighted pull-ups because it's something to where I can go to that place to where everything around you goes fuzzy. You get that ringing in your ears, like after you just heard a loud like cannon burst, like when you can't hear that ringing, and then your vision goes blurry. Like I can finally go to that place again and just unload.
Sure.
As stupid as it is, going for a 1 rep max on pull-ups, but it's just something that I can just let go and just go to town.
So I asked you before we started, like, if you're off all medications for anxiety, depression, and all that stuff. How long has that been going on? How long have you been off?
What year was it when we did the first podcast?
2020, wasn't it?
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Because I had when we did that first one, John and a couple other friends really pushed for me to try CBD to get off anxiety meds. And I believe 6 months prior to that first one, I had went cold turkey off my anxiety meds because of CBD. And I haven't been on them since then. It doesn't fix the problem. It's a Band-Aid.
Yep.
It's the same with my back injury. It's the same with any injury. It's the same with mental health. If you don't fix the problem, you can deal with the symptoms all you want, but nothing's going to go anywhere if you don't fix the problem. So you can medicate yourself to be a zombie all day long, but as soon as you stop taking that medication, you go right back to it. You know what I mean? If you don't fix the root, the symptoms, it doesn't matter if you treat the symptoms. You got to attack the core.
Is that something that you're trying to do?
Yeah, which is why I'm going to therapy. I'm trying to figure out, and again, a lot of this stuff stems way past.
But you were on medications prior to the injury, though, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
because you were dealing with like depression and stuff.
Depression, anxiety
for a long time.
Because at the time, I just wanted to numb it. I just wanted to be numb. Like I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling before. So when you sacrifice the negative feelings, you sacrifice the positive. So it isn't just like you take the meds and, I just don't feel down anymore. Like you don't feel happy anymore either. You just emotionless zombie. So at some point in life, you got to realize you're supposed to feel downs. You're supposed to feel ups. You should be able to navigate those smoothly. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be to where you go through some down times and then you just stay down forever. Having strong mental integrity means that you can navigate through those ups and downs and it just stays. It flows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's very weird because like when I was in my most like consistent bodybuilding era thus far, I would say that I would go through the most dramatic ups and downs And a lot of the time I wouldn't feel anything with no medication and no like substances at all. So like, it's very odd to hear that, because even though bodybuilding or lifting weights in general was like my therapy, it would cause me to have the most up and downs. Like I'd have the highest highs and the lowest lows. And from what I know, I'm not bipolar or anything. Maybe I do have a small amount of bipolar disorder, but I doubt it. But like that numbness that you're talking about medication does, I feel like lifting caused me to have a lot of that numbness as well. But with that being said, I do think it was being mentally strong for bodybuilding cases. Obviously, bodybuilding is a different type of sport where you're subjecting your body to, being unhealthy, even though people think it's healthy. So,
yeah. Well, you're chronically broke down, and when your body is chronically broke down, you're more susceptible to mental and physical ailments. You know what I mean? Chronic stress fucks you up both mentally and physically. So if you're under that chronic stress all the time, you're going to have, you have no regulator. You know what I mean? So if you're under that constant stress, that constant cortisol all the time, your body cannot regulate it. So that's why you had extreme highs, why you also had extreme lows. Your body is equal. You know what I mean? So anything that you have one way above or below, you're going to have an equal but opposite the other way. And if your body can't regulate those things because you are chronically stressed, chronic cortisol, sleep's bad, you're just basically starving, but you're still trying to function in real life. Your body can't regulate that. That's why I'm assuming that's why you felt those extreme highs and extreme lows, because, but that's the thing. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Like your body was working the way it's supposed to, because if you just felt the extreme lows all the time, then that would be a problem. That means your body's not working the way it's supposed to, but because you were able to flow up and down with it, that at least means that something was working.
Yeah, that's true. I got a good wife too. She was like, we'd drive home. I'd be just like really angry or something after the gym, or just nothing. Or like she'd be talking to me about feelings, and I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I don't feel anything. Like I can't tell you I can relate with you at the moment, but she knows it's temporary. So that was always my rock at the time. So, and still is, obviously, but it's not as nearly as bad. But
Kate was always that understanding too, huh, Cody?
She's still around.
Oh, she had to put up with that shit all the time, though. Yeah,
but we all had to put up with that shit. It wasn't just Kate.
Mostly John. Not
I didn't.
so much Dion.
He was fine when ever since I've known Cody, he didn't do bad his last show, like mentally. He did a really good job.
No, that was when he was like starting to come around to like being able to handle the shit better.
Well, it was during COVID too, so that kind of helped a little bit.
Yeah, didn't have as many things to do other than lift.
Yeah, that's true.
Was it always the same things that got you, or was it everything? Or was it always like the same things that triggered you and always upset you?
You just had like very little tolerance for.
I had very little
humans.
tolerance. Yep. And I just thought about this the other day, because I was in the gym early and there wasn't a lot of people in there at the time. It sucked because I would go to the gym, but I would want to be surrounded by people, but at the same time, those people were pissing me off. Like if one person came up to me and said, "Hey, bro, what are you eating?" or something like that. Like how much time do you have left? You're like, you look good. It was like those little things that they would constantly say. Even though they were complimenting me, I was annoyed. I was so annoyed because it was the same compliments or the same questions over and over again, right? And I'm just like, fuck. But at the same time, like I'm a dude that feeds off of energy. So like I need to be around people. But at the same time, I don't want them to talk to me. Like, just don't talk
Everybody
to me.
just watch me be awesome and don't say a word.
Much,
flexing.
Right? So I would literally come to the gym and I would have my hood up and I would fucking have my bitch face on and I would just walk around, mean mugging people. But yet, like, I would still get people going up to me, "Hey, dude, looking good. How much time you got left?" And I'm just like, for fuck's sake, dude. And, there's a couple of people I snapped on and I felt bad afterwards. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so hungry. Like, I'm so tired. Like, and me personally, like, I probably shouldn't be bodybuilding. Like, I just,
some people,
I don't have tolerance, dude.
Yeah.
I don't have tolerance. I don't have patience. Like, I'm not a patient person. I'm probably the least patient person out of everybody that you guys know. Probably, right?
Yeah.
And you eat a lot.
I know.
Like, I don't think that's
so when you're not, it's
Yeah,
When
always-
I'm
it's
not
like-
eating,
yeah.
it's like it's a problem.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I'm not. I don't think I'm ever gonna probably compete again.
You think so, huh?
I just don't see it. I don't see it's not worth it to me. Like I remember you when Kathy competed that one time, and you said it bothered you because she was different around Freya. Like she wasn't as energetic, and she didn't play around her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's like you barely have energy to get up the fucking couch.
Yeah.
You barely have energy to get in your car and go somewhere. Let alone you have to pack all of your fucking food, your water, your supplements. You got to make sure you get your cardio in on time. And it's just like now that I have 2 little ones at home, it's like, what do I want to do? Do I want to give into my pride and, you know, like just to show off again for fucking 30 seconds on stage? Or do I want to spend that 4 to 5 months that I have with those guys and invest everything that I have into them? Because, and this might seem like cynical or something, but I feel like, what if there isn't tomorrow for me? What if there isn't tomorrow for them? Like, what if something happened and I lost that day, that month, that week, whatever it is? I lost that because I chose to do this bodybuilding competition rather than go and hang out with those guys, you know? So to me, I feel like it's all about them rather than just going to compete again. Cause I just don't see it's not worth it to me.
No.
They're also at a very pivotal age. I've been doing a lot of reading I'm always reading 2 books, one about strength and conditioning and one about psychology and mental health. And they're at an age right now to where everything you do has profound effects on who they are as an adult.
Sure.
What you do, what you don't do, how you talk to Kate, how Kate talks to you.
Yep.
Everything that they see, hear, and feel you doing has a profound effect on their life when they're older.
Yeah.
So it might not seem like much if like you're short with Kate in front of her, or if she's short with you, or if
Sure.
if one of them like gets hurt and you ignore it, or one of them gets hurt and you see it and you coddle them. Like, it just, everything you do and don't do is so significant right now. And it's created to blow your mind. You know what I mean?
I 100%, because I notice like sometimes when Kate and I get into an argument and I'll look over and Roman's sitting there staring at us, watching, observing, analyzing. So you're absolutely right. Everything that you do, those little ones are watching.
Yeah. And that lasts forever too. Like, even like we were just talking about this last night on the way home. So like, my son Angel was driving home. They're at my house this week, and so we all left kind of the same direction on the interstate. And I got frustrated because someone in front of me was just driving batshit slow. So I'm like, whatever. I zoomed around them and I just kind of gunned it to get in front of all the cars because everyone drives like they're scared right now. And I just zoomed around the cars and I passed Angel and he just kind of threw the peace sign and I got in the fast lane and I was going. And then Kayla goes, don't do that. You're going to make him speed and it's dangerous for him. And I'm like, he's not going to speed. He's the smart one. He's a good kid. And then all of a sudden, bro, in my rear view, I just see these fucking lights going vroom, vroom, vroom around cars. And he fucking flies past me and throws up the peace sign again, bro. And I just started cracking up because I'm like, damn, that's so true. She's like, and she right away, she's like, these boys all watch everything you do. They dress like you. They copy everything you do. She's like, they're always going to imitate you. And you just like endangered him basically by pulling that stunt, you know, because he came zooming past me, bro, out of nowhere. So I felt stupid, but yes,
hilarious.
they will forever, bro, especially the boys, you know, like they'll forever follow everything you do, not just when they're little, but yes, when they're learning, that's important that you understand that. But man, it's forever.
Yeah.
He's 18 years old now, and I still have ultra influence over him without even trying to have it, you know?
Yeah.
And
So-
the shit's deeper than you think. So if Roman, his whole childhood, sees you guys arguing,
Yeah.
he could very well grow up thinking like
yeah.
that's how marriages work.
Yeah. Mom, don't talk to me
That's
like
how,
that.
That's
Yeah.
how people communicate, by yelling at each other and not working on their shit.
Yeah.
Or very well could grow up thinking, I can't talk to my parents because this is the response I'm going to get.
Right.
I mean, it's deeper than you think. Like,
Or he will,
every-
and he'll talk to you guys like he's heard you talk to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
And that'll really
Snap
piss you
back.
off, man.
Yeah.
That'll really get you, especially when you realize, oh shit, I do that. That's where you got it from. That sucks.
So much of who we are was shaped in our infant years. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Dude, parenting it's got to be the most hard job. It's like got to be the hardest job out there, right?
For sure. Once you have kids, you realize that stay-at-home mom is not such a nothing ass bitch job. You know what I mean? Like it is not, bro. 100% it's not. It's the CEO of the house, bro. Straight up.
Yeah, there's no way I would ever be able to do that.
I know. Men weren't built for that. I admitted that a long time ago. Me and Killa have had tons of arguments about the who does what around where, you know, and I'm just like, I bow out, man. Like I can't keep up.
Yeah.
She can do everything I do in the business and then go home and cook, clean, do laundry, feed the kids, get them ready for school, remember the dates of appointments and sports and things. And I mean, the stuff that a woman is capable by design of doing that we are not, and having absolute grit through it all is insane.
Yeah.
And you really get that perspective when you have kids because they could do things that we can't. Even when you know, like, damn, I should be helping, I'm like, I'm not gonna though. Because it's just not in us, man. And the woman can just fucking kill it nonstop. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's truth though. You'll see, D.
See, I'm at the point in my life where I just judge my siblings to their faces and I say, dude, your kid's so bad. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. And they can't even say anything because like then my other sibling who also has a kid, they're like, yeah, your kid is bad. My brother specifically, he's got a almost 3-year-old and he's something else. Like he didn't just wake up from a nap. He's not eating those two things. He's good. But if he's with his dad and they're with people, he's going crazy. He just is an animal. And then I've got my other nephew who's 9 and he's great, but he loves to just like push buttons. He's just like me. He is like the mini version of me. He'll push your buttons, not mine. I'll beat him. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, you just got to get this kid like, and I just give him advice, even though it's not my place, nor is it accurate most of the time, but I can, and they can't do anything about it. And then they're just like, wait till you have kids.
Are you guys done having kids?
Yeah, Kathy actually just had a hysterectomy.
Okay.
Last Friday. Well, a partial hysterectomy. Like she still has her ovaries, but I don't expect you to know what a partial hysterectomy means because I didn't know what it meant.
You didn't want to get snipped?
No, I had this. She asked.
Only Kathy
she asked
gets
me,
to sleep around now.
Yeah. That was the initial like, would you be willing to get a vasectomy? And my brain immediately went to, what if they fuck up and my dick never works again? Like that was a legitimate fear that I had. I'm like, it's not worth it to me. Like I'll wear condoms for the rest of my life. Like I couldn't shake the fear. Like it just, maybe it's because I already lost one thing that gave me worth. You know what I mean? So then if I were to lose that,
you can't lose your dick game and lose your stroke game at the same time. Yeah.
So I couldn't do it.
Stroke game's already lost. So Marshall's like, can you have sex with me?
Damn.
So yeah, she did that last week. Friday, everything went perfect.
Dion got a visual. Marshall's just laying there.
Just laying on the bed, just
do me.
Stiff, just laying there.
That's funny.
Don't move my back with me.
That's funny because for the longest time they made fun of me and called me a starfish because I would they're like, how do you have sex? You just lay there and she fucks you. It's just like a starfish. So they called me a starfish for a long time and it cut. Like they thought I was laughing because I thought it cut. Like it for a couple of years that hurt.
Blow up dog.
That was it was the reality for a little while. It's like that's if we were having sex, I'm just laying there and then
man, that's great.
So that's funny. That's funny.
At least you're getting some, dude. Hey,
that is funny that was brought up because starfish. Yep.
It was just like it just slid in there, you know. But
God, that's good.
So now you're are you getting more training clients then, or are you sticking with what you've got so far, or are you pushing out to try and grow that area of your business? Or
I'm pushing to grow. This whole year was dedicated to being a better coach. For example, I made a goal to read a book a month this whole year, or 12 books, and I think by August I had already read like 14 or 15.
Wow.
This whole year was dedicated to becoming a better coach. So I'm always reading a book on psychology, and I'm always reading a book on the physical side because they're just equally as important. And actually, the more I focus on psychology, the more it's helping myself, but the more it's helping my clients. It's helping my clients tenfold, just learning about the mental side of everything.
Is that why your Instagram videos are so zesty now?
Zesty? No, I don't know what you mean by zesty. I don't know what you mean by zesty.
You're sitting there, you're like typing, and then you have the filter on and everything like that.
You know what's stupid? Those I made one of those. I don't fucking get it. Like I had more interaction from a stupid video of me typing to like a song.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't fucking get it. Like, and then I made another one. We'll see if this is the same. I made another one, same thing.
Songs are important.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
All of it's an algorithm.
And I don't understand it. Like, this is the stupidest thing. It's It's in fast speed typing for 90 seconds.
Yep.
But it gets more views.
And people figure out who you are. And know that you're a coach.
That is why I've been, every time I make one, I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Zesty,
but it's like people are gonna look, if people are looking at it, they're gonna look at the other shit. So
sex sells, bro.
What are you at? How many clients do you have now?
I just signed up a new client yesterday, actually, and I think that put me at about 18.
Oh wow.
Nice.
And yeah, the goal is to do it full time. I'm taking it slow. Because
this is how you stay in powerlifting for the long term too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What would full-time client list be?
I think I would have to double it. I think I would have to double what I'm at now to
18 to 30 to 40.
30 to 40.
What do you look at like price ranges of other like higher level powerlifting coaches?
I don't, because I got, one of the reasons why I didn't think I had the confidence to do this in the first place is because I would compare myself to other coaches. Like, I have friends in the powerlifting world and the strength world who are very good coaches. You know, they have hundreds of clients, and I kept trying to mimic what they did. I would always make these videos trying to show how smart I was or how much I knew, or like give these big in-depth breakdowns of how the muscles work or why you should strength train this way, because that's what they did. But they being viewed as someone who's really smart, or being viewed as someone who knows everything or has the latest exercise that's 3 degrees off of the one everybody else does, they need that. And I don't. Like, I could care less if I could care less if the internet knows I'm smart. You know what I mean? What I do for my clients and their word of mouth, it's what's going to tell people that I know what I'm doing. So I just kind of quit that shit. And I put more of an emphasis on making my clients the spotlight, making them the important ones. And it's so hard. There's some side of me that just demands recognition. There's this part of me that if I do something for somebody and it makes them better, and it was because I did it, I get upset if they don't acknowledge me for it. But I understand that's ridiculous. Like, in my mind, I'm like, that's not why you're doing it. You know, but there's this little ugly side of me that just gets upset when you don't get that kickback, even though that's not what I'm doing it for. But I think everybody has that, but it's just, so making the client the spotlight, leveling up my knowledge, because I don't think that I can charge the prices that these other people charge if they're on another level intelligence wise than me. I wholeheartedly believe that as my intelligence and as my knowledge of strength training rises, my rates rise. I've since the last time we talked, I think the last time we spoke, I think I was charging like 75 per person. Yep. And since then I'm up at, like 150 to 200, depending on what they need. Because, and of course the people who are grandfathered in, I didn't raise, but.
Are you doing training and diet, or just training? Just training.
Yeah. Okay. I have no desire to learn anything about diet. It's a whole nother animal. Maybe someday I will, if I have if it affords me the ability to do this full time, and I could maybe spend those hours learning about nutrition that I would normally spend at like my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Then that might, present itself. But right now it's just another animal just to try and learn.
Well, and getting any recognition out of diet is the most difficult thing, because a lot of people will be like, yeah, I'll get diet from you. And then they don't do it. Yeah. And then that's even more frustrating when they don't do it. And they're like, why isn't this working? It's also a reflection on you.
Yeah. And the only way you can clear that is to be an asshole and come out and say, the reason why this person isn't getting their results is because they're not doing what they're supposed to. But you're never going to do that because you don't want to look like that dick.
Exactly.
But that's the only way. It's just like when people would talk shit about me or people talk shit about John. We've both been on the opposite side where John would just tell me, you know, like, time's going to tell the truth. Or there's been times where I've told John, you know, time's going to tell the truth. Yep. But it's hard to sit there and let it happen because you know you could shut it all down in 3 seconds, but you would look just as petty as them. So you just let them say their piece.
That's the hardest fucking thing in the world to do, especially when you're somebody who likes to stand up for their own shit, you know? It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you don't want to you don't want to go to their level. You don't want to be as petty as them. But yeah. The more it just, the more I learn, the more I feel confident to charge more. And taking a bigger approach towards psychology actually helps me understand how to train the person. Part of my like new client interview, I try to figure out why they train, and everybody always wants to stop at that first layer. Like, for example, I had someone who's a good friend of mine, but I'm not going to name him. He just recently came to me for training for the first time, and he's broken. He's been out of it for a while. He's broken. He's out of shape. He's unhappy. And he thought he was just going to get his lifting program and go. And we sat at a coffee shop for 2 hours and didn't talk about training at all. Not once did we talk about training. I was like, so why do you train? Oh, I want to be strong. You know, I want to hit that platform again and do it one more time. And I'm like, okay, that's good, but that's been your goal for the past 5 years that you failed every time. Yep. So it has to be stronger than that. So why do you train? And then we peel the layer back. It's like, oh, I just want to do something in my life. I want to get healthier. I want to do this and that. Like, okay, cool. That's been the same thing. Everything has failed for the past 5 years with that goal. And we peeled it down. Just every time he'd say it, I would just be like, come on, man, just think about it. Like, why do you lift weights? And then we peel it back like 5 layers, and it gets down to some like stuff from his childhood where he never felt like he was good enough, and he never felt like he had the approval of his father. He never felt like anybody gave him attention, and he developed this horrible habit of never wanting to let anybody down. So he would kill himself, run himself ragged, either at work or in his personal life, at the expense of his own health, to not let anybody else down. And I was like, okay, but why are you okay letting yourself down? Why are you okay? If you are so obsessed about, I can't let this person down, I can't let anybody down, don't you think that is ass backwards? It should be the other way around. You should have that same passion about not letting people down with yourself, because you are the one who has to live with yourself in your body for the rest of your life. And you could just see like his eyes open wide, and it just hit this new level for him. And we just talked further from that, but figuring out the why, and not just like the superficial why, just like, oh, I just want to have muscles. Like, no, like, why did you start going to the gym in the first place? You know what I mean? And from there I can build a program, because if you want to go to the gym just for superficial reasons, you're not going to have that same commitment and drive. Or if I tell you, you have to do X, Y, and Z if you want to get better, those things, X, Y, and Z, those aren't fun. They're going to be boring. But if you want to get better, that's what they have to be. And if you are someone who's just doing it for superficial reasons, you're not going to do those things. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But if I can figure that out, I'm not going to give you that X, Y, and Z. I'm going to give you the stupid shit that you want to do, so you can go to the gym and just have fun and enjoy it. You know what I mean? But if you're someone who's saying, no, I want to better myself, I want to get better, I want to do this, that, and the other thing, then I will give you X, Y, and Z, because these things specifically to you are going to make you better. Does that makes sense? So knowing the psychology of the person absolutely dictates how I train them.
Interesting.
Are you having any like free training days for yourself? Like, are you training how you want, even though it might not be as heavy, or are you doing your regimented stuff like only for recovery right now?
I'm finally getting out of the recovery realm and starting to train like I want to train. On Thursdays when I go to Metro, okay, I'm understanding. I'm realizing that my gym is not set up for me to succeed personally. My gym is set up for powerlifting, just bare bones. Anything you need for powerlifting, we have it there. It's not set up for me to succeed right now. My best workouts come on Thursdays when I go to Metroflex and I can use machines that don't require stability. You know what I mean? Which I don't ignore stability. I still work on that. But if I just want to go to the gym and I just want to train my back really hard, I can go to Illegal and do that. As opposed to if I tried to train back really hard at my gym, like, what are you going to do for back? Bent over rows? Well, I can't. What am I going to do? Bent over rows with the bar? Because I can't do bent over rows with a plate or, 2 plates. I can't do dumbbell rows, So I was telling Kathy, I think we should start looking into some more machines, because if we kind of give me more opportunities to train hard, I'll enjoy training a little bit more at the gym. But right now, I can't really do a whole lot at the gym in regards to just going there and training hard and having fun.
Yeah. That's tough.
I saw you guys just got to pull down.
Yeah. I went and checked out Ty's new place over by Dilworth.
It's just clean, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. And he took me into the back, and there was just this pile of equipment. And he's like, I'm just gonna throw it. I'm just gonna throw this stuff away. Like, is there anything you want? And I was like, well, we have this shitty Amazon lat pull down that's feels like it's gonna fall apart. And he's like, well, you can have that lat pull down. I'm like, are you sure? You get paid? Like, no, I'm literally gonna throw it away. You're literally doing a job for me by taking it. I'm like, okay.
Nice. That's
and then you just put it on your back and walked out.
Yeah. Nope. Micah and Ty lifted the weight rack.
Nice.
I lifted the other part, but
you held the door for them.
Yep.
I lifted the door. That's good though. That's awesome. It's good to hear that you're making some progress and at least starting to feel better and in your mind and in your body. So
yeah. Before we get too close to shutting this down, you came to visit me few months ago maybe or something like that. We had just had a good little convo, and you were telling me how you were going on this hiatus, like you were going to not be in the gym for a whole month. You were going to start your book reading, stuff like that. How did all that stuff go for you? How did that work out? How did it work out, first of all, to not being able to be in the gym for that long on your own accord?
I was that was at a point where, let me think. That was at a point where I came to the realization that I have to let this die or I'm not going to get better. And I was also learning a lot about control and how if we try to control things, we're actually out of control. And I was trying to control everything so much. And I needed to do something drastic and to break the cycle. And the gym was making me feel, being in the gym made me feel worse than being out of the gym. Like it made my anxiety and depression worse to go to the gym. I was not happy there. It made me feel worse. And I didn't know what to do. So I just decided,
take a break.
Yeah. I actually went to Les. It was like a cascade. I went to Les Brown in Florida. And then when I got back on Monday, I went into work at my old job at Swanson, and it was just the normal chaos, the normal bullshit. And I walked out. Like, I quit.
You quit that day?
Yeah, I quit that day.
No shit.
I just walked out that day.
He came back in full control.
Yeah, because when I was in Florida, I was really.
That's right. You went to
Les Brown.
He's a motivational guy.
Yep, he's
right?
my favorite motivational speaker. Yep.
And you just the day that you got back, or when you went back to work, you were like, "This is not where I want my life."
Yeah, I didn't go back intending to quit. I just went back, and it was the same bullshit. And I'm like, I don't want to put up with this stuff anymore. And
I can't believe you lasted that place that long, dude.
I know.
I made it. I think I made it 6 months, and I was like, fuck this place." Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. But no,
So you quit your job.
Yep, when I was in Florida, you know, it was before I even saw Les Brown. You know, I was just struggling, and I was just journaling about stuff, and you always get to this point where it's like, I'm done. Like I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not gonna get better. You know what I mean? And I told myself, and then I messaged Kathy, like, I'm not coming back the same person. And it was just that switch. Like, I'm not coming back the same person. So when I came back, I didn't intend to quit, but when I got back, it was awful. And like, I'm done. I walked out.
So did you say like, I quit and then just left?
Yeah. I went around to my superiors and I'm like, I'm done. I quit.
What did they say?
One of them was understanding. And then the other one tried to make me feel like my feelings weren't valid. Like all the things that were wrong with the company, that everybody I work with and around me, you know, just verifies as this is fucked up. Like he just tried to convince me that my feelings weren't valid and I was wrong and there's really nothing going on and it's my problem. And I was like, yeah, and I don't have to put up with it. So I just walked out.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just walked out. And then I believe that's when I decided to go. That week I decided to go to therapy, I believe. And then that was the week I was like, I'm going to take a month off from the gym. So I did not go to the gym for 28 days. I didn't make it a whole month. But
a leap year.
Yeah.
Month.
In those first 3 weeks, I didn't miss the gym. I've never taken more than a week off probably since 2001. I've never taken more than a week off since 2001. I was just hopelessly addicted to the gym. And I didn't feel like going back. And that was kind of scary because I didn't know if I was going to get that feeling back. I was actually kind of nervous that if I stay away long enough, I might never want to go back. But around day 28, I wanted to go to the gym. You know, I was feeling better mentally. I was feeling better physically. And then I just went into, it was a Thursday night that I went back and just did a few things. And then it just kind of clicked and I just kind of felt better since then. But that was really hard. Yeah. First time in over 20 years taking more than a week off from the gym.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
But you got through it all. Did it feel necessary when you were done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty good reset. It was a pretty good hard reset. Yeah.
Good.
Do you like where you're working at now, or is it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's good enough. I mean, there's days, there's days that I kind of feel down, but that's only if I let it be that way because, I work at, it's a pharmaceutical company. Ty used to work there. It's called Corber. It's a pharmacy. They build these massive automated machines for places that make pens like Ozempic or like just this huge automated machines that just fill the pens and then like seal them up and stuff like that. And there's four buildings. And then I have a big ass box truck, and every day I make 2 runs to each of the buildings, taking machine parts or tools, or just each day I take 2 runs delivering parts. And I get paid more than I did at like a lot more than I did at Swanson.
A lot more.
Wow. Like dollars more.
You were at
more
Swanson for what, 12 years?
2006, almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 20 years at Swanson. Yeah. So I get paid more, and I don't necessarily do as much. I love the freedom. Like I love that. Part of the reason why I liked Swanson because I was on my own in the corner and I really didn't have a boss. Like I dictated what I did every day and I didn't have to answer to anybody. So I love having that freedom. So I basically dictate my own schedule here too. And I'm never stuck in the building. I'm always out driving. So I like that. But the way the guys who build the machines, they're called techs, and it's a German company. So I don't know if this is a German thing, but the techs, the guys who build the machines, they're considered the money makers of the company. And we are supposed to treat them like they're our clients. So they can't do any wrong and we can't do anything right. So there's literally times to where if I'm supposed to put their part on a shelf in this square, and if I put their shelf 3 inches outside of that square, they lose their shit.
Oh, really?
They lose their shit.
Like, are they American people though?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you give, not everybody's like that. But if you give people the right to be an asshole, there's some people who embrace the shit out of that. Like there's some people there who just run with it. Like they just treat you like they're beneath you. But then there's also techs who are like humans, and like they, just because they can treat you like dog shit doesn't mean they do it. You know what I mean?
Do they do that to you?
Not directly. They'll like do it to my boss, and then they'll complain about me to my boss, and then they'll get back to me. So when there's days when I'm like a little mentally down, like I do get upset. Like I'm a 41-year-old delivery boy. But then on the other days, it's like, dude, you get paid more to do less with 50% less stress. It's like, that's like the bigger picture. And it's affording me the opportunity to build my coaching. You know what I mean? So it's on those like 5-10% of the,
that's the norm though. You're never going to have a job where it's all like you're going to get anything better than 50%. I mean, 50% is really fucking good. Yeah. As long as you have to work, you're going to work with unhappiness and stress and shitty people. I mean, it's wherever you go, you just got to kind of pick where it's worth being, for sure. Yeah. It's always like that, even in entrepreneurship. In fact, you probably have to eat more shit as an entrepreneur, you know, but it's just, you'll never escape that shit, man. It's always going to be in the workforce. So as long as you're in a better position to deal with the bullshit and it's less bullshit than what you were dealing with, sounds like a win.
It's 10 steps up from where I was. Definitely.
Good.
Fuck that place.
I didn't know you worked there, Cody.
I did for like 6 months. 2016.
Okay.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I did the same thing, man. One day I was like, fuck this, I'm out. I called up my supervisor. I was like, I'm not coming back in.
You did it over the phone. I did it face to face.
Yeah, that's true. But
millennial.
But I started personal training right after that. Like
that's right. Okay.
I took up personal training, and
Skater guy.
The rest was history. SkaterGuy72@hotmail.com.
The best was when you made posters, bro, and you actually put that email on the posters. Yeah. That was like the funniest thing. Everyone was talking about. They're like, look at his email address.
Yeah, I got everybody to talk about it.
That's crazy. You weren't even that young to where you should have been using that email. That's the weird thing.
And it was all young. Big and jacked.
Not that young.
20s.
Skater guy.
Yeah, at 25, which is what I am now, I'd be like, why would I use that? I wouldn't even use that email when I was 18.
Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking.
Publicity's publicity.
Yeah, I guess. I'd be like,
even negative press is good press.
All the Cody Mauk at hotmail.com or yahoo.com was taken.
I didn't have a lot of clients, but I was popular at the time.
It's okay. You got through it.
I did get through it. You got anything else, Marshall? Any other brain busters you want to bring up?
Yeah, more brain busters. No, that's basically all that's new with
You got
us.
butthurt because we closed out last time that you were on the podcast. Closed out too early because you wanted to talk to you wanted to bring up loyalty. Remember that?
Oh, that's
during that time period.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? What was happening during that time period?
I have no idea.
Okay.
What's he talking about? I'll talk about it. Like it just refresh.
You just wanted to have a talk about loyalty because you felt like some people were loyal in the wrong directions, even to a fault. Where like if they had, people that they were friends with who were shitty people, they still stayed loyal to that person, even though they knew and admitted that certain people were shitty and this and that. See, it was like an issue you were taking up with just society at the time, I think.
Yeah, I remember that now. I remember specifically, yes, but it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't know why it bothered me so much at the time.
Well, it was fresh.
Yeah, maybe that's
fresh.
Yeah.
It was right after certain stuff, and it was fresh at the time. So I think, were a little offended, but
yeah, okay, yeah, because lines were being drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. But the funny part is all of those that situation, those people are falling away from
certain people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, I knew it. Like I could make that.
With the good people, it's always a matter of time.
Yeah. But I could make that cut and run immediately. Yeah. And the others kind of felt like a loyalty, like they had to stay and give the person a chance.
Yeah.
But it's just, time tells everything. Time tells the truth. Like they're
even
just,
if it sucks to go through it.
They're all just annoyed with that situation. Now it just took them longer to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, as you get older, you realize stuff more about people, and you can see through stuff. When people show their colors, you can see it. Yeah. And so as you get older, you just realize, like, I don't need you around me at all. And I only need this specific group of people and I'm good. So
Yeah.
that's how I am now. It's like, I don't give a fuck about half of people that I used to talk to. I keep a small circle for a reason, you know? So
that's how I managed to stay single for so long. Yeah, that's why. You said it like it was a choice that your circle got smaller. You said it like it was a choice. Your choice.
Look, I made this precise decision to make things better in my life. What bridges?
Well, that's cool because that made me think of when you did the bridges thing. I saw a quote that I really liked. Like, sometimes you have to burn the bridge while you're on it, so they know you mean business, or they know you're serious. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
That's interesting.
earlier I was gonna say something. We went off on a tangent just to give an example of how I think we were talking like parenting and stuff bothers me that shouldn't bother me. But Freya came up to me today and she's like, Dad, I ordered a new water bottle with my own money. Like, she's getting really good at saving money, and she buys, if she wants clothes or she wants toys, she'll save up her money and then she'll buy it. Like, okay, you got a water bottle. You have 47. Great. And then I didn't say that, but and then Kathy's like, she got a Stanley. I'm like, immediately I was like,
here it goes.
Why? Like, why? Like, I wish we would have talked about this. Like, does it mean anything in the long run? No, but it's just like, it's just this empty follow the leader, follow the pack, whatever's hot this 6 months. And then right now it's the Stanley Cups. And it's just, why? Like, it makes to picture her drinking out of that in public just makes me cringe. And it's just because then she'll be, in my mind, she's getting lumped in with someone who just follows the crowd. Yeah. And does it matter? No, it doesn't matter at all. But when I see things like that, when I see groups of people who just follow the trends and that are just like these empty, hollow drones that just have no thought for themselves. Yeah. And I'm not saying everybody who has a Stanley Cup is like that, but before I get that thrown in my face, but I just see that when I'm working in public and I just people watch and I just see that and I'm just like, I don't want her to be associated with, like, couldn't you have just said like no, just that water bottle is too expensive. Let's just get this one right here. But it just immediately set me off and was like biting my lip. I'm like, why did you let her order that?
I feel like we
does it matter?
About that.
Like, it doesn't matter at all. But
the shitty part is that's such a cool actual story. Like, why Stanleys are popular and trendy. It sucks that this like groups of people got a hold of it and made it a horrible trend, because I think it's really fucking cool how they became so popular with the whole car fire, and some lady posted on social media her car was on fire, and when she was cleaning it out, she took her Stanley Cup out of the cup holder, wasn't burnt, but the entire inside of the car was, and her fucking ice was still in it.
Yep. You see, I didn't even know there was a story.
That blew Stanley up. So overnight, this viral video comes out. Stanley, the company, finds out. The CEO contacts the lady. They buy her a brand new fucking car.
It wasn't even for like women.
No,
like they weren't marketing towards.
Yeah, it wasn't a marketing plan of theirs. It's just the way society took it over. Yep. But it's one of those things where it's kind of a cool thing, you know. Like Stanley caught a lot of wreck for something that was really awesome, and that's why they should have became really popular as a result. They were every one of these fucking steel cups will do that. You know what I mean? But they got the recognition for it, and it was huge for them. But then trendy, society got a hold of it, bro, and it just made it this thing where now when you see someone with a Stanley, you're like, oh God.
But Stanley's been around for years.
But like the only reason that person has that is because it's trendy right now.
But it's just because it's like the influencers that we don't like, right? Because what are those coolers that everyone likes? Yetis. Every dude's got a Yeti.
So fucking expensive.
But it's like Stanley's for fucking burly men. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the Yeti is.
I would never pay that much for a Yeti. They're too expensive.
It's crazy. You pay an extra $40 for it to say Yeti on it. It's so expensive.
Like, I don't do nothing. Like, I have two big ass like coolers that we use for like events and shit like that.
Cervezas?
That they came with the business. You know what I mean? I didn't actually go out and purchase them. But anytime I've ever needed a cooler, man, I'll go buy a fucking styrofoam one from fucking like Rite Aid or some shit. I don't care because I don't do nothing with them after that.
Pay $90 for a small cooler.
I just fight with that stuff so much. I want, like, Freya still doesn't. She's 9. She still doesn't have a phone. Like, I don't want her. If she could go through high school without a phone, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Man, I'd be shocked if you pull that off.
Or if she had like a flip phone or something that didn't have any access. Like we're most likely going to get her a phone that doesn't have any access to social media, where it's just, I know they make phones now where it's just a phone, like it was meant to be. Yeah. That might be it. Or whenever you go to like gymnastics, it disgusts me. Like when she goes to gymnastics, there's like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old girls who are in booty shorts and sports bras.
Yeah. That's
and I'm just
horrible.
like, why why does an 8-year-old girl have to have her ass hanging out?
She doesn't.
And in a sports bra to do gymnastics, and all the gymnastics moms eat it up. And we've been really good. Like Freya, she still wears like long shorts and a shirt. Like she does it, but as she gets older and her friends get a little more cliquey, like that's starting to, she kind of wants some of those things. And you can't tell to a 9-year-old, like that sexualizes a 9-year-old. Like you don't, there's no reason, like you can't explain that to her.
Yeah.
It'll be easier when she grows up and you can explain her. But when she's this young, like I'm not sexualizing a 9-year-old. Like I just don't understand why that's even.
Well, and that's the shitty part is their parents, like the moms usually would be like, well, don't look at it that way. If you're a pervert and it's just like, no, what are you talking about? Like this is a little girl. It doesn't matter who's looking at her, how they're looking at her. Like she shouldn't be dressed like that. It's very inappropriate.
There's no reason for her ass to be out.
There's no reason. Who's that comedian that does the Trump impressions? What's his name?
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis. Yeah. So I watched a comedy special by him. He's fucking funny. First of all, he's super like dry humor and raw with it too, though. Funny. But he does this skit, and we'll close on this because this is a cool closing. But he does this skit where he's talking about, he went to like a volleyball game for his like nieces or some shit like that, and he's just like, boy, let me tell you, that's awkward. He's like, I'm gonna bomb this if you go watch it after. But he basically is like saying how he's like, me and all the other uncles are sitting there looking at you like, like checking out these girls, and he's like joking. He's like, no, I'm just kidding, and but then he says he got to asking like, why do they have to wear those shorts, like booty shorts essentially? And he's like, I don't understand. He's like, so I'm asking like a former volleyball pro girl or some shit, and she's just like, oh yeah, it's real necessary for speed and agility and stuff like that. And he's just like, no, it's not. And she's just like, no, yes, it is. It's for movement. And he's like, well, you ever seen basketball players? Like they wear long baggy shorts and they're running faster than all these girls on the court, and they're still like defending it. And then he's like, and then it was like, when something about how the way he won the conversation, he's like, well, I saw Special Olympics volleyball players and they're not dressed like that. It's like no one wants to see them do that, right? Like that's fucked up. It was just kind of funny, but it's true. It's like there's no excuse. Like I'd get it. Like if it was like bathing suits, right? Like they wear these tiny, skimpy bathing suits when they're like Olympic swimmers. That makes sense that it's kind of necessary. Like the dudes have to wear that shit too, because now you are talking about a need for speed in the water, so to speak. But yeah, I've never understood it. I think it's crap, and I don't let my daughter. But the sad part is my daughter tries to do stuff like that. Not like necessarily wear booty shorts, but she tries to dress like the other kids dress.
That's what she sees,
Yeah, it's what she sees. So we took her out of gymnastics, and she plays basketball now.
you can't explain to someone, an adolescent kid or like a teenage kid, but you can't explain to them like, 15 years from now, you're not going to be friends with any of these people. Right. And 15 years from now, you aren't going to care about their opinion. But you can't. But like you couldn't tell that to me. You couldn't tell that to you. Like when you're in high school or whatever, you couldn't convince yourself. Like that's life right there. Yeah. You think it's forever, but no. Like actually, in 15 years from now, you're not going to give a fuck about that person or what they said. So.
Yeah, but we're now the parents that just don't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So awesome, man. Well, Marshall, I appreciate you coming back on with us, bro. It's always fun to have you on the show. And thanks for explaining the journey so far. We've always been curious, and we know it's been years. So it's good to know you're making progress, at least in a different direction, bro. And I hope you continue to find a path in powerlifting if it's not you getting back on that platform, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Keep it up, and we'll close that out on that one, guys. So appreciate everybody. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the podcast. Tell your friends about us. Don't tell your friends about us. Talk good, talk bad. Doesn't really matter as long as you're talking about us. Peace.